That's Jake from State Farm. I always say that to him. He's like, man. Bottle of water. Or Coke. Coke is fine.
A day to remember for the rest of your lives.
There's a great promise for all of you.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame and Extreme Networks present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program. With nearly 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 48 states around this country, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans how to huddle up during a time when we need to be united.
It's time for America to take a real deep dive. Not at no one else, but at yourself individually. If you want to change America, don't brush your teeth with your head down. Look at who you are and be the example. Be the example.
An opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. Single-parent homes, drug-infested neighborhoods, and poverty.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was considered one of the worst in America, and the household I grew up in was one of the worst in that neighborhood. By the time I was 20 years old, I knew at least 30 friends or family members who had lost their lives. Football became like a second parent to me. It taught me the things that my father wasn't there to teach me, and that my mother, as a struggling, single-parent woman, just didn't know to teach me.
But they learn how to live a life of character before pursuing their football careers. Today, you will learn you can do the same that they once did. Making good decisions can lead to a prosperous life both on and off the field. Your game for life has already begun. It's your decision whether or not you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
Every one of you can have a Hall of Fame life, whether or not you play football. You can be as great as you want to be. The Hall of Fame is all about integrity, character, and excellence. You have the opportunity to represent yourself that way. You determine your heritage.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, The Heart of a Hall of Famer.
When I was at the Boys and Girls Club in Allentown, PA, which I continue to support today with my foundation, I felt that shield around me every single day. And they were important in my life. Not only for my development as a football player, but as a person. And for that, I'm very grateful to them. I was known for my toughness. Going across the middle, making that catch, breaking tackles. But the toughest individual I've ever met in my life is Jim Kelly, number 12. We always joked about what I would say every time I left the huddle, whether it was a run or a pass play. Right here, bro. I said that every time. I didn't care if it was a run or a pass. I was open. But we laugh about it now because I wanted the ball. That was my passion. I wanted you to be proud of me. And know that you can count on me at any time. You know our old saying, bro. 12 plus 83 always equals 6. As I look back on my career, again, I see a small town kid with a dream of someday being great, making a difference in his community, and most of all, making his parents the proudest people on the planet. Well, I'm here to say tonight, I've done all three of those things. No more routes to run, no more passes to catch, no more DBs to beat. The journey is complete.
All right, and with that, I'd like to welcome everybody to another edition of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Heart of a Hall of Famer series. Today, featuring Gold Jacket Hall of Famer Andre Reed, who is coming to us today live from his alma mater in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So it's a very cool program where we can send our Gold Jackets to their high school where they grew up and became the player that they are today. My name is Jake. I'm going to be moderating the program today. And our mission here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence everywhere. Those values we promote are those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence, all of which we're going to talk about today and focus on today. I'm excited. Hopefully everybody we have tuning in, not only the schools, but everybody we have tuning in on Facebook Live as well, is excited to learn a little bit about the career of Andre Reed and a little bit about the man, Andre Reed, as well. Before we get started, I do want to thank a few people. First of all, I want to thank our folks over at Extreme Networks. Without their help and without their support, we could not do this program. They do so much for us here at the Hall of Fame, but they also do so much for schools all across the country, giving them the ability to do what we're doing here today, connecting to Gold Jackets all throughout the U.S. I'd also like to thank our teachers and administrators for allowing us to come into their classrooms today to teach the students a little bit about the game of football, but more importantly about the life lessons that the game teaches and how those lessons apply to not only your career on the field, but more importantly, your career off the field. Lastly, I'd like to thank our students. You know, without you guys, this program couldn't happen. You guys are going to be the one asking questions today. It's not every day you get to interact and talk to one of the best football players to ever step on the field. So I hope you guys are excited, and we're excited to see the questions that you have for Mr. Reed today. So with that, I'd like to turn things over to Gold Jacket Hall of Famer, Mr. Andre Reed.
How's everybody doing today? Good. You got to sound a little more enthusiastic than that. I know it's morning to me, but not to you guys. So how's everybody doing today? Good. There you go. Well, I'm excited to be here. As Jake said, you know, my hometown high school. And as I alluded to you guys earlier, I ran these halls, and I didn't run them, but I was through these halls a lot. And it's great to be back here not only as a Hall of Famer, but a person that is almost just like you. just like you right now. You guys are at points of your life right now. You got students that are football players and athletes, and I heard you guys what you want to do. It's important. I was the same. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to do something. Some of you guys don't know what you want to do yet, but you have a vision. And that's really what the most important thing is right now, is having a vision and staying focused on what you need to do and what's important to you in your life. It's a very important part of your life right now, because you're all over the place. Seniors are, okay, do I want to go to school? I'm trying to get this together, trying to get that together. I'm finishing, all that kind of stuff. So you got to be able to put all that in one basket and be able to pull out the stuff that you need. That's going to better your life. Your next phase of your life. That's what you guys are going to do right now. So again, it's awesome to be here, back here at Deer High School and Husky High. I'm a Husky for life, and it's always good to be back here in Allentown and supporting not only my school, but supporting you guys. So I was just like you. So again, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys being here.
All right. With that, I think we're just going to dive right in and start with these questions, and we'll turn things over first to those students right in front of you there, Andre. If you want to pick a student out that's got a question, have them ask it, and we'll start with that.
All righty. Let's see. Well, since I talked to you first, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, how do you define rising to excellence in your own words?
Wow, that's a great question. I think, again, it's having a vision of what you want to do. I always thought that I was going to be, believe it or not, a football player. And I think I was born to play football. And it just so happened that's the path that God put me on. Obviously, what was really important to my family, my mom and dad, was school. And in order to be who I became, I had to go to school first. You just can't be on the street and go, okay, I'm going to play football and become a professional athlete, football player. Excellence is it's hard to attain. And wearing this gold jacket and all the things that the Hall of Fame stand for, as Jacob said, that's hard to do. And if you look at all the guys, there's 326 Hall of Famers now, and there's only 180 living on the planet. And I'm one of them. So there's an obligation for me to be excellent in everything I do, because I represent all those guys and I represent the game that I loved. So in everything I do is I just want to be the best. And I told you earlier, a lot of times you're going to go through life and things aren't going to happen for you. But you got to always keep knocking on that door, looking in that little peephole. Somebody's going to come to the door, and then you got to be ready to take the stand and be ready for it. Good question. That's a good question.
Awesome. With that, I think we're going to send things over to Bridges Elementary School. We got Bridges Elementary School all the way out in Gilbert, Arizona. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute your mic and go ahead and ask your question for Mr. Andre Reed.
Did playing football help you in your life?
Very much helped me. I think, what was built from the time I was 8 years old as a kid playing Pop Warner here, it started a trend for me that was going to be part of my life. It was a football life. I don't know if you ever watched that on TV, on NFL Network, A Football Life, but I had a football life. And all the things that I was taught here as a kid went into my football life. And sports has a way of not only bringing people together, it has a way of teaching. And I tell you, it is the best teaching thing going right now is sports, is being involved in a group of people that have one common cause of winning. And you build so much, all these words that you hear that your teachers tell you, and when you're done with school, these are the things that you're going to need. These are the things that are going to be so important to you when you're trying to get a job, or you get in front of somebody and you want to speak to them about how you feel about things. All these things that sports teaches you, that's where you're going to get it from. So very good question. Thank you.
All right, next question. We're going to send it out to Passaic Valley High. They got some questions ready for you. So go ahead, step up to the mic and ask your question to Andre Reed.
Hi, my name is Julian. In 1993, in the AFC Championship, you guys were down 35-3 against the Houston Oilers. At halftime, what changed in the locker room in the locker room?
The greatest game ever played. That's what that was. Maybe some of these kids probably think there's better games, but to be involved in that game, what was said in the locker room, there wasn't too many things said. I think you can probably hear a pin drop on the carpet. That's how silent it was. We were getting beat pretty good, and we weren't playing well. And the bottom line is we had to muster up something, not only to make it's weird. You know, we had to come out and play better, obviously, but each individual had to take it upon themselves to make a play and not worry about anything else but themselves. And if they made a play, somebody else was going to make a play, and then somebody else was going to make a play, and then somebody else. We were down 35-3, and we won 41-38. And I scored 3 touchdowns in a minute and 15 seconds. So I think you guys know when anybody ever been in a zone before? Yeah, that was it all the time. Who said that? Who said that? I think if you want to stay a zone, the team was in a zone and I was in a zone. And it's like, you know, LeBron or Michael Jordan, all those guys, Steph Curry, when they're in the zone, and I do know all 3 of those guys too, so I just want you to know. They're in a zone. When they're in a zone, they're in a zone. And nobody can get them out of it but themselves. And that's the way I felt. And I was just like, give me the ball. Just like I said in my Hall of Fame speech, I wanted the ball. Oh, yeah, I wanted it all. That's right. I wanted it. And I knew that, you know, it was on me. It was on me to make those plays. And there's a difference between knowing that it's on you, but when you step up and you got to make the play, that's when it's real. So great question.
You talked a little bit there about your enshrinement speech. We saw there at the end you brought your quarterback throughout the majority of your career, Jim Kelly, up on stage to throw that one last pass to you. Not only that moment, but what did Jim mean to your life? And then what did that moment, did that kind of wrap everything up in a nice little bow, kind of concluding both of your careers now that you both had a gold jacket?
That's a good question, Jake, because I talked to Jim, and I was not me without him. You got to have somebody that believes in you. And I was always the guy Jim went to when chips were down. And the confidence he had in me, in turn, I had to get that confidence back from him. I had to have confidence in him too. We're good together. There's no doubt about it. We're one of the best to ever do it. And it was just a confidence in each other. And for him to throw me that last pass was I didn't cry when I was there, but when I got back to the room, it really dawned on me what that meant, because he meant so much to my football career. He meant a lot to me in life. And I took a lot away from him as a person, because he really was the heart and soul of our team. And there was a lot of guys on our team that were very emotional, but we didn't go to 4 Super Bowls in a row without him. And, you know, Jim was a special guy, still is a special guy. He's going through a lot, and I wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame without him, no doubt about it.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and move on to some other students there right in front of you who have some other questions.
Let's see. Go ahead, Donald. Yep, stand up.
Did you ever get nervous before or during the game? And if so, how did you overcome that?
I'm nervous right now. I think I've been – it's not really nervous before a game. It's like that – it's just your energy is just flowing so much that you're really not nervous. You just want to get going. I never was scared on a football field. Never. Getting home sometimes I was scared. But I never was scared in between the lines, because I thought that's where I was most comfortable. And that had a lot to do with who I am today too, because I take things on straight, grab the bull by the horns and go with it. If it doesn't happen, I just know that I can come back and do it again. But I never was really nervous. It was a nervous energy.
All right, next question. We're going to send it back out to Arizona, and we're going to send it to our students at Bridges Elementary. So go ahead and ask your questions for Andre Reed.
Were people encouraging you to play football at a young age?
Good question. What's your name?
Cody.
Cody, good question, Cody. Yeah, my mom wanted me to get in football early because I had so much energy. She was like, just go, back when I was in Pop Warner, there was no flag football. You got flag football there now? Yeah, see, I didn't have flag. They put you right in pads. So you were getting hit at 6, 7 years old right away. Yeah. Yeah, you were not no flag football. You weren't pulling no flag. Somebody was hitting you in the head. But as I alluded earlier, I thought that, football was my destiny. And playing Pop Warner all the way to – I played 30 years of football. From age 7 to 37, I played. And every fall, I knew that it was time to strap it up. So I was always ready for it. Good question.
All right, we'll send it back now. We're going to send it to our students at Passaic Valley High for their next question for you.
Hi, my name is Gio, and as an African-American player, what are your thoughts on Colin Kaepernick and his situation in the NFL?
Oh, you know what? I wasn't ready for that one, but I'm going to try to do the best I can. People take stands in life and they believe in things that are important to them. We live in a country where we have freedom of speech and freedom of everything. So when it comes to Colin, I know Colin, I think he's not doing it for himself. I think the NFL has, they have their own values on things. And I think as Americans, as African Americans, of whatever religion we are, whatever color we are, we have a right to speak up what we feel is right. And it just so happens when you get it in the media like that, and it's in a big entity like the National Football League, there's going to be different people coming at you from left and right, and you got to be able to explain yourself. And I thought he's done a great job. I think he should be playing right now. And there's no doubt about it. He should be probably starting for an NFL team right now. And, I really applaud him not only for making a stand on what he believes, but when you got guys like LeBron and all these guys talking about it, that's really what America wants. And that's really pretty much all I got to say about that. But good question, though. Good question.
So I understand we got some representatives in the room from your university, your college there near Allentown, Kutztown. So coming from a small school like that into the NFL and not coming from a big school like Ohio State, a Penn State, and Alabama, these big, huge programs in Division I. What was it like coming out of that smaller school and having to compete with guys who were coming from those bigger schools?
I was ready for it. I was ready for anything. I know, Kutztown set me up pretty good. Our coach back then, and George Baldwin and Al Leonzi, I remember the first scout came to see me in 1982. And George Baldwin called me down to the athletic office and said, "Hey, somebody's down here who wants to talk to you." And I'm like, okay, who wants to talk to me? And I got there, and it was a guy from the Cincinnati Bengals. And he said, "Andre, I've been watching film on you, and we're going to be watching you the next couple of years. We want to see how you progress." And that's actually the first time I was really scared. I wasn't on the field, but I was just scared because it was like a scout from the NFL. I was like, oh, my gosh. But I was, it set me up. I was ready for that. And I think going to a small school, if Jake, you look at a lot of NFL rosters, half of their rosters from small schools. The Ohio States and the Michigans and the USCs, you got that. But it's those guys from those small schools that are the guys that are meat and potatoes of the team. You know what I mean? They're the guys that you can count on day in and day out. And that's what Kutztown did for me.
Awesome. So just to kind of give everybody a background on what that gold jacket you have on means. When you were inducted in 2014, after you went through the ceremony and everything, All Hall of Famers receive 3 iconic pieces. They receive the bronze bust that goes on display here in Canton, Ohio. It's going to last for over 40,000 years. They receive that Kay Jewelers Ring of Excellence that you have on there. I think we got some pictures behind me here that keep rotating up. You may see that pop up from that presentation. And then you get the Hager gold jacket that you have on there. But like I said, that kind of iconic piece is what kind of everybody wants to come to Canton, Ohio to see is that bronze bust. So right now, I've got the Director of Youth and Education Programs at the Hall of Fame, Jerry Shockey. He's out in our Hall of Fame gallery, and he's standing in front of Andre's bust. And he's going to talk a little bit about what that bust means, and then a little bit about Andre's career and why he is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. So, Jerry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Jake, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Selfie, Jerry, what's up?
Hey, Mr. Reed, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good, man. It's good to see you, and it's good to stand right next to your bronze bust. And I just want to give the students that are tuned in from across the country a little bit of behind the scenes about what this bronze bust means. So think about this just for a second. Is that since the game of football started, there have been about 300 million that have played the game. There have been about 5 million that played on the collegiate level. There have been about 29,000 that have been paid to play, coach, officiate, and administrate the game. But there are only 218 Hall of Famers, like the bronze bust you see here of gold jacket, Andre Reed. In 1985, the Buffalo Bills used their 4th-round draft pick to select wide receiver Andre Reed out of relatively little-known Kutztown State University. Reed played 15 seasons with the Bills and 1 final year with the Washington Redskins. In the process, he was selected to play in 7 consecutive Pro Bowls, rewrote the Bills' record book, and added several entries into the NFL's record book. Without a doubt, the most prolific receiver in Bills history, Reed, a 4-time All-AFC choice, is still the team's all-time leading receiver with 941 receptions. His 13,095 career reception yards are still team best, as are his 36 games with 100-plus receiving yards and his 15 receptions in a game. Reed added an additional 85 catches for 1,229 yards, including 5 100-yard games in the postseason during his career. He started in 5 AFC championship games and 4 Super Bowls. As you guys can tell, Andre Reed had a career well-deserving of a bronze bust here in Canton, Ohio.
So we go through and see all those awards, all those numbers. So far, since you've got that jacket and that bronze bust and that ring, what has kind of been the coolest moment or the coolest thing or the best thing about being a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
That's a good question, Jake. Everything's cool about it. Every day, there's probably something different every day I think about what that means, the bust, the jacket, and the ring. And no better people to celebrate that with than my family. I got a great story. When I was inducted, it took me 9 tries. And every year they had a party back here in Allentown. They had like a little gathering, and my mom was a part of that. And my mom's here today. So she was the person that put all this together and got all these people together. So every year they would wait there for enshrinement or selection day, and then it didn't happen 8 years. So that last year in 2014, and I was in New York at the time. The Super Bowl was in New York. And I remember they this is before the knock on the door. So they actually called you on the phone. And quick story, I got a call from a 212 number, and Canton is 330. So you got to wait for Canton, that 330 number to call. So if you get that number, then you're like golden. And I got a 212 number, and my agent goes, yeah. I said, who is this? I don't know who this 212 number is. He says, I'll just answer it. It might be somebody that, it's important. I go, 212? I don't think anybody, whatever. So I answered it, and it was Joe Horrigan. And Joe was downstairs in the hotel. And he goes, hey, Andre, what are you doing? I go, Joe, are you serious? I said, I'm sitting here waiting for this phone call from Canton. He goes, well, your wait is over. This is the call you've been waiting for. And I just dropped the phone like mic drop. Ooh. He says, welcome to the Hall of Fame. That was it. So that was, I thought about from Pop Warner all the way to the last play I played, my whole football career flash in front of my face in 30 seconds. That's what that meant. And I know that every year the guys that get picked, their whole football career flashes before their eyes. So that's really what that means.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, we'll go dive back into the questions here, and we'll start right with those students in front of you. You have the questions there?
I thought I was waiting for her.
Sorry, no. Yeah, sorry, no.
I was waiting for her.
We got to go. So we'll start with the students there in front of you.
I took a lot of hits to the head, man. I need to be hit. Oh, right here? You want me to go right here?
Yep.
Okay. Right here, my man. Yep.
You said you played football for 30 years straight. How hard was the transition for life after football?
That's a good question. How hard is it to not play for – you've been doing it almost your whole life and then you just completely stop? First of all, I was ready to stop. Yeah. Some guys play this game 5-6 years and something happens to them, an injury or something happens, and they get their career cut short. I was very fortunate, by the grace of God, to play 17 years in the league. I got lucky, but you make your own luck in life. If you do the right things, you get lucky. And I felt every year I had to do more than I did the year before that. You know, if it was working out, if it was doing something I need to be better at. And not in sports, in life in general. Do something that you're not used to or accustomed to doing. Work when nobody's watching. Okay? Work when nobody's watching. In school, whatever. Because guess what? That just gives you an extra edge. And that was really important to me. That's a good question. Really good question.
All right, for our next question, we'll go to that individual there at Bridges Elementary School. So go ahead and ask your question for Andre.
Did you decide to keep playing even though you knew you were at the risk of getting injured anytime?
Good question. Jeez. You know, I took a chance. I thought that every time I was on the field, I felt pretty invincible. I thought I had an S on my chest a lot of times. I thought I was Superman. And if I thought that way, then I knew I was going to give my all. And maybe I got injured, but if I didn't go out there and didn't think I was going to get injured or thought I was going to get injured, I probably was going to happen. So I played like it was my last play. And I prepared every offseason like it could be my last year. So there was a means to the end for me. But again, I got real lucky and I was blessed to play as long as I did.
Awesome. All right, next question. We'll send it over back to Passaic Valley High for a question for Mr. Reed.
Okay, hi. My name is Mike, and my question is, the sport of football is under attack across the country because of injuries and CTE. What would your message be for parents and kids who are fearful of playing football?
I got a good question, too. I get that a lot. Parents always ask me, would I put my kid – and my son played football in high school, and it just wasn't his thing. I think people see you as what you've done, and they go, well, why isn't your son playing? I go, well, that's not what he wanted to do. So you got to I would never steal a person's dream about what they want to do. If they want to play football or want to play a contact sport, you put him in there and he's going to tell you if he likes it or not. And obviously there's risks that you're going to take of concussions. And I think I've had probably over 150 concussions. Probably even more than that. So that was a choice I made. But again, as I told you guys earlier, I think I was born to do it. And I think I wasn't fearful of getting a concussion. But that's a pretty good thing happening right now. I mean, the game is a lot different than it was when I played. You don't see guys getting blasted too much anymore. If you go back and you look some YouTube videos of me, yeah, I got blasted pretty good. But again, that's a choice I made. So the game is a lot safer than it was 25 years ago. And again, that was just a choice I made, but I thought it was a good choice. Good question.
Awesome. So we've talked a lot about what you do in your career on the field. So I want to kind of switch gears here and talk to some of the things that you do nowadays off the field. And we were lucky enough to work together here a couple years ago to build the Andre Reed Reading Room at a local Boys and Girls Club here near Canton, Ohio during Enshrinement Week powered by Johnson Controls. So can you talk a little bit about what that project is, as well as how important it is, you think, for today's youth to read, and a little bit about your Read 83 challenge?
Pretty good. Yeah. Thanks, Jake. Obviously, my last name's Reed, and me and my girlfriend came up with actually didn't come up with it, but we know how important reading is. And when I was a little kid, was going to the library, and the Boys and Girls Club was so important in my life. And my mom knows I was at the Boys and Girls Club a lot after school. And they taught me a lot of the values that were taught at home, but they were just reinforced at the Boys and Girls Club. Because sometimes you learn a lot of things. You learn a lot of things from your parents, but it's that other person that says something to you that sticks with you even more. And that's where I learned a lot about, excellence and integrity and perseverance and never quitting. All those things that I learned at home at the Boys and Girls Club, they were just taught to me again. They were reinforced there. And we came up with a program where we used to get a reading to encourage kids on how important reading is in life. And if you can't read, it's pretty difficult out there. And we use the game of football. We use the game of football to encourage kids that reading is fun. It's cool. The kid sitting in the corner with glasses on that just keeps his face in a book. People laugh at him, but nowadays that's the kid you want to be next to. That's the kid that got the good vocabulary, that knows how to talk to people. And that's what we encourage in the program. And we're in how many? 15 cities now, 15 NFL cities. We were just at the Super Bowl in Atlanta. And we use other athletes in basketball, football, baseball, hockey, to team up with us and encourage kids that reading is important, and it's going to help you out being economically successful in life. So that's really important to us.
Awesome. Definitely something important. As we always say here at the Hall, you can't be a football player if you can't read. And it goes to show that not only during your career was it very important and leading up to you becoming a Hall of Famer, but staying in touch with those Boys and Girls Clubs and working closely with them after your career is over just goes to show how important it was to you and your life. Like you said, probably wouldn't be sitting where you are today with that gold jacket on without their influence. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next question, and we're going to stick with those students right there at your alma mater in front of you.
Okay. Yeah.
How did it feel to get hit by all those big linebackers?
They never caught me, man. No. How did it feel? I was pretty much ready for it. I tried to have the offensive coordinator put me in positions where I didn't get hit like that, but I did anything I could to help the team win. That was really the most important thing. We went to 4 straight Super Bowls for a reason, and I felt that I was a major part of that because they involved me in a lot of things. And again, you have to step up to the plate, and you got to be ready. And the game, as I said before, the game's a lot different than it was back then. Believe it or not, a lot of times I liked it because that's what I was born to do.
So you mentioned they're going to 4 straight Super Bowls. I'm sure everybody knows the story. Buffalo Bills, wide right, made it to 4 straight Super Bowls, never won one. Still one of the best teams in history not to win a Super Bowl. But what I want to kind of focus on is what lessons or values did you take away? We know that the success was there. You made it to the game. But being on the other end, the not going to Walt Disney World, not getting the confetti rain down on you, what did you learn from those 4 huge games? And what life lessons did you take away from those?
There's a lot of life lessons there. You're not always going to win. You want to win all the time, but sometimes it just isn't meant to be. It's not the measure of a man of how you feel and what you do after you win. It's what you do after you lose. Because guess what? Life is a lesson every single day. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. What do you do? Everybody's all peach, happy and when you win. The true measure of character is when you lose. When something happens to you that you're not ready for. How do you come back from that? What is the measure of you as a person when you lose? When things aren't going well? That's really what sticks with you your whole life. I never thought I was a loser because we lost. That's just part of winning. Winning and losing go hand in hand. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson I got from that is, you hear them, you win some, you lose some. But what do you do after you lose? Even what do you do after you win? How do you handle yourself? Because you may not get back there again. So the measure is how you define winning and losing and what you do about it.
Awesome. I think it's a great message today. As you know, there's so many sports out there and summer leagues, club leagues where winning is kind of the only focus. And to show that, you're not going to win them all. There's always, if there's two people playing, there's always going to be a loser. And to take those life lessons in and apply them to not only your career on the field, but your career off the field as well, just goes to show that there is a message. While it may not be the best time, there is a message that comes out of every situation like that. So we're going to go over to Bridges Elementary now for our next question for you here. So go ahead and ask your question to Andre.
How important was education in your preparation for life?
Very important. We're sitting here because we want to be educated, right? That's really what it's about. No football, you don't play football unless you go to school. Your mom and dad know how important education is to you. They want you to graduate. They want you to go to school, graduate, and have a piece of paper. That's the most important thing. Not everybody's going to be a professional athlete. There's only Jake said all these numbers. There's only 326 Hall of Famers. But all 326 graduated from school. Because that's very important. I would not be here if it wasn't for me going to school. So that's really the most important thing, is getting an education.
All right, next question, we're going to send it over to Passaic Valley High. Go ahead and ask your question when you're ready.
Hello. My question is, if you didn't play football, what career would have you got into?
Good one. I wanted to be a state police. I wanted to be a police. I wanted to drive around and give people tickets. I did. There was something about that I really liked. Just pull over, here's your ticket, see you later. I know it sounds funny, but I wanted to be a state trooper. And I remember here at Deerhoff, do they still have the planetarium here? Yeah, see, that's how old it is. But I remember my science class here, every other week we'd go in the planetarium and learn about, the heavens and the stars. And I wanted to be an astronomer because I really was fascinated with, is there anything else out there besides us standing here? I was really fascinated. But even today, I watched all these, different kind of channels about stuff. But I was really fascinated with that. So I wanted to be an astronomer and a state police.
Awesome. It's kind of I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a weird combo. Being a police officer and astronomer. But if that's what you're interested in, that's what you do.
I did, man. I did.
I'm gonna read off a couple more stats, some of which we've said throughout the program already, but just kind of to sum up your career in a couple sentences. We have the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2014, Kutztown University's Hall of Fame in 2005, Buffalo Bills Wall of Fame in 2006, Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame in 2004. You remember the Buffalo Bills 59th season all-time team in 2009, and you have Andre Reed Stadium named after you there in Allentown. That was done in 2014. So all that summed up, you had a pretty decent career. What do all these awards and honors mean to you?
It just means that I'm an example for the next generation, that things could be done if you apply yourself. If you don't apply and you just sit around, how are you supposed to get something done? right? The early bird gets the worm. I know you guys heard of that one, right? If you're late, you ain't gonna get it. So you gotta have focus, and you gotta have a plan right now. And then you gotta go for that plan. Because it isn't just gonna happen. You gotta be able to apply yourself and accept defeat and just keep at it. If that's my message to everybody here, is I want to be an example that it is possible in anything you want to do. In any single thing you want to do is possible. There's no restrictions anywhere, but it's up to you to break down those restrictions if there is any. You got to be able to apply yourself. You got to be able to do the, like I said before, do the work when nobody's looking. Then the off season, I used to run routes when nobody was looking. And there would be, sometimes it'd be, actually I ran some routes out here back in the day. When nobody's looking, they're like, who's that kid over there? I got things to do. I got things I want to do. And nobody's going to stop me from doing them. So that's my message to you guys, is have a plan and then go and just stick to it.
Awesome. I think we got time for about one more round of questions. So we'll go ahead and start with the students right there in front of you. And we'll get the ball rolling with them.
Okay.
What was the biggest sacrifice that you took to improve your game, if any?
Biggest sacrifice. I don't know if you call it a sacrifice. I think I just had a vision and just worked, and I just went with it. And I think, I put my blinders on like a horse, and I didn't let nobody from the right or from the left bother me. And I was a pretty introverted kid. I was very shy, and I didn't really say anything, even in school here. I used to walk around these halls and had a big fro like this.
You ever have a girlfriend in high school?
Anyway, you know what? I didn't have a girlfriend. Sports was my main focus. I figured the girls are going to come later. Yeah, there's your answer right there. But I sacrificed myself a lot of times. They had school dances here and all this stuff and all that kind of thing. And my mom knows I didn't go to school dances. I was working out. I had plans. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen later. Good question.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Just goes to show how much work goes into it. It just doesn't, as they say, as David Baker says, our Hall of Famers, they don't fall out of bed great. There's a ton of work that goes into getting that jacket ring and that bust. So we'll send it over now to our students at Bridges for their question for you.
How did you choose your jersey number?
Good. In college, my number was 88 because I was Lynn Swann. Lynn Swann was my favorite player. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he's Pittsburgh fan. And a good story about that, Lynn Swann right now is the athletic director at USC. So if you guys are wanting to think about going to USC, I can help you out. You know what I'm saying? And I wore 88 in college because of him. And I actually was a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And when I got to Buffalo, was drafted, they didn't have 88. Somebody else had it. And he was like a 3 or 4 year veteran, so I wasn't going to steal that from him. And he wanted money for the number, so I wasn't going to pay him. So they gave me a choice between 82 and 83. So 82 didn't look like the kind of number that scored TDs to me. So that's why I went with 83. And obviously I scored, 100 plus touchdowns? So, yeah. So that's why I chose 83.
Awesome. All right. We'll send it now over to our students at Passaic Valley High for their next question for you. Whenever you're ready, guys.
Hi, my name is Marino, and I was wondering, out of all the cornerbacks you faced, which one was the toughest one?
They all were tough. I mean, you don't get to the NFL not being – I mean, there was guys that were better than other guys, but that level, you're all pretty much good. Probably Rod Woodson was probably the toughest guy I played against because he had every single quality a cornerback had. He was fast, physical, very smart. Deion Sanders probably second. Deion could run, but he wasn't as physical and as Rod Woodson was. Had a lot of great guys I played against, and all these guys are Hall of Famers. So, well, Ronnie Lott was a safety. So he hit me a few times too. And a few times he tried to hit me and missed. So hope Ronnie isn't watching. But those are probably the two guys.
Throughout their career, you can kind of see you've done some stuff on NFL Network and ESPN before talking about, the game today. So is there a guy out there, a receiver out there that resembles your playing style or you think kind of is the Andre Reed of the NFL today?
No, not Juju. I think Keenan Allen from the San Diego Chargers.
Okay.
Very elusive, plays the slot a lot, very elusive, run after catch really good. All these guys now, Odell and AB, they all bring something to the table and they're all different in their own way, just like me and Jerry, Michael Irvin, Chris Carter, Tim Brown. We all were different in our own way. Like I said, I think, Keenan Allen really kind of resembles me as a player more than a lot of them.
Awesome. All right. I think we'll go ahead and is there some other students there in front of you that have some questions?
He's not a student. He's taking the pictures.
Okay. He's got a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You indicated that a lot of times you do things and you don't get credit, whether it's out here working out. I want you to know that Derek High School has 2 groups going uptown next week and will be awarded recognition by the mayor for their volunteerism.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to share where you're going in Kutztown after this program.
I am Teresa. What I forgot. I didn't forget. I got my yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yes. So I'm going up to Kutztown. Yes. Is it tomorrow or? There's a barbershop in Kutztown. The kids, they sit in a chair, get their hair cut. And if they read a book, they get $3. What's it called? And what is the barbershop called? City Cuts. Yes. And that's perfect for my program. Yeah. Yep. So awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah, I saw a story. Can you just go into a little bit more about that and how important it is for you to see not only the program itself, but where it's happening and the tie you have to the area where you are today?
Well, I try to get up to Kutztown as much as I can. I know Alex, they probably love me up there more, and I definitely will start going up there more. To be involved with the alumni there and to be involved with that school is very important to me. And I think we developed a relationship over the past couple of years, and we're going to even be more doing things with not only my program, but with the school in general. We want to lure more kids to Kutztown. It's a great institution. I hope you guys are thinking about college, all of you. I hope you give Kutztown a chance. Not only is it good in sports, but it's actually definitely an excellent institution for education. So that's my plug right there. And it's always great to go back there on Main Street and see some of the things that, I used to hang around with and have fun there. So, and this barbershop thing is going to be pretty cool with the kids.
All right. We're going to send it now back out to Bridges Elementary. They have another question ready to go for you.
Do you miss playing football?
Excuse me, say that again?
Do you miss playing football?
I miss it a lot. Yes, I do. Once it's in you, it's always in you. Yeah, it's been part of my life, most of my life. And I attribute a lot of the things that have happened to me because of the game.
All right. We're going to send it now. If we got another question out there at Passaic Valley High, ready to go, go ahead and ask your question to Andre.
Who is the most impressive college player out right now, do you think, in your opinion?
Oh, wow. Well, everybody's thinking Kyler Murray is going to go number one. I don't know if that's going to hold true. I don't know if he's the best college player, even though he won the Heisman. I don't know if he's just like anybody else. He has to fit a system. He's got a little Russell Wilson in him. He's a two-star. He can play baseball too. So, but he's committed to football. I know he's going to be at the combine. But I think I'm very anxious to see how he fares at the next level.
So for college students going into that, or the people who are going into the draft here in a couple months, what would one piece of advice, if you could sit every one of them down in the same room, what would be one piece of advice that you would give to these guys who are going to be the next stars in the NFL?
Yeah. I would say just trust the process. It's the process all the way from when you get, if you go to the combine to getting drafted, there's so many different avenues. Kids can get ready for the combine now. When I came out, they didn't have all these different avenues to get ready for the combine. So just trust the process and do what you should do and be the best that you can be. And when you're out there, getting ready and you're performing, that you're at your peak.
All right, I think we got time. I'll go wrap it up here with one last question. This may be my favorite question that we have for this program. What would be one piece of advice that you would give a student today, a high school student today, moving forward? I know we talked a little bit about yesterday about starting somewhere. What would kind of be that one piece of advice that you would give to these students today?
That's, everything I said today comes under the word never quitting, or the saying never quitting. Quit has never been in my vocabulary. Sometimes I didn't want to do something, but if it was going to be for the betterment of me, I never quit. And I didn't get to this point in my life by being a quitter. So everything that I've said to you today, it's all under that premise that you never quit and you always work hard. Because you never know. If you don't work, you never know what you can attain. You'll never know what you can attain if you don't work at it. So, and again, do the work when nobody's looking. That's when you get ahead. Because they'll go like, hey, what happened? How did you do that? Well, you weren't looking. You over there doing that over there, whatever you were doing, it had nothing to do with me. That's why I'm up here and you're like right here right now. You want to get up here with me? You got a little work to do. So that's my advice to all you guys. And whatever you do in life, again, all those values, remember those values that we learned today. The values of what the Hall stands for. That's the values that I go by. And I teach that to my kids. Are they hard-headed? Yeah. But they know where I'm coming from. As long as they know where I'm coming from, they'll get it. They'll get it. And I was taught that through my mom and my dad. And am I always right? Yeah, I'm always right. No, I'm not always right. But I know that I was taught to always think that I'm right. Not being cocky about it, but I was always taught that's just part of my DNA. Yep.
All right. I couldn't think of a better way to wrap it up. With that, we're going to wrap up this installment of our Heart of a Hall of Famer series with Gold Jacket, class of 2014 inductee Andre Reed. Andre, thank you so much, not only from me and Jerry and our staff and Nathan, but from all the way up to the top with George Veras, Pete Fearley, Steve Strawbridge, all of our VPs, as well as our president, David Baker. I know you spoke a lot about those values that we all believe in here at the Hall of Fame, so we sincerely thank you, not only for everything you've done for us here at the Hall of Fame, including this program, but everything you've done for the game of football. I always like to say, the game wouldn't be like it is today without our Hall of Famers' influence, and you're definitely a big part of that. So thank you from us all the way up to David here at the Hall of Fame. And with that, let's give everybody one big round of applause for Andre today.
Great job, guys.
We'll wrap it up, Andre. Hopefully we'll see you here in August back in Canton.
In August. August.
And we'll talk to you then. So again, thanks to all the schools who tuned in today. And again, once again, thank you, Andre, for participating in our program today. So we'll see everybody, and we'll talk to you guys later.
See you in August there, Jakey.